Hey, now I've been waiting for this box to rock up for quite a while now, been about a couple of months, and it just got delivered today, and I've been super keen to get my hands on it and finally get to play around with it. But before I go into unboxing it and showing what's in there, I just wanted to have a bit of a conversation about why I would go about and try and justify my gas. I feel this is something that's going to really help with me going out and about and being able to play music. So I wanted to go through the reasons why and go through the unboxing with you, and then we can enjoy this thing together. Alright, before I go a bit more into what's in the box, I've been actually looking for a device like this for quite a while now, and it really has been a bit of a journey for me. Like, I've got my own gear, like I do have like a big one for a while was using LSDJ, which is a Game Boy based music making tool I really enjoyed using, but I felt they were a bit limited in the way I can create. And like back in the day when I was just solely doing chiptune, perfectly fine, but as I grow more into like creating bigger musical ideas, it's a bit hard to articulate something on one of those devices and then bring it into my DAW. And I do have a few other machines here, like the Digitone and MPC 1000, both very capable machines and love them to bits, but portability wise they are a bit clunky to take on the plane or put into a backpack. Taking them out to a place, like I've got to make custom power supplies or search for power somewhere, and yeah, it just takes a bit to get them up and running. I have been looking at a few different products online, especially Teenage Engineering's OP1. I think that is a fantastic machine. I really want to get my hands on one. I'll definitely give it a shot. I like its sort of tape workflow and then being able to sample something or sample from the radio, as well as it's got its own internal sound engines that you can make noise with. And it was really appealing for me, and in Australia it was a bit expensive to get my hands on one, as well as just being able to source one. And I've tried to get a few different other ones like the Mate or some other devices, but there's this ability to be portable and then being able to be flexible in what you create. But the big thing for me is, like, if I make this idea, being able to dump that information into a DAW and keep working on it. Polyend a year ago showed off a fantastic little machine that I've been really excited to get my hands on, and pretty much I put it off for a long time just to make sure that people were saying that it was good, and like watching people play with it, making sounds. But really I had the opportunity to get my hands on one, as like they would run out of Australia, but there was a error in the system, so they had one left, and I bit the bullet and been patiently waiting a couple of months now for getting this in my hands, and I'm glad I did it. Cool, so here's the package. So yes, even though it says don't cut. So we have the case for this one, and so here's the main package, and pretty excited for this one. So another box. Or is it upside down? It's upside down. We have the Polyend Tracker. Now, I'm being pretty excited for this one, so let's see what's in the box. Cool, so we've got a few supports, a link to the manual, which I've been looking at quite a lot, a nice felt case or cover, and there it is. Actually feels pretty solid. That actually feels really nice. I was a bit worried that would be a bit small for my fingers, but we'll find out when I start playing it. Jog wheel, the best feeling. And we'll put that to the side, as well as the cover. And I believe we have some cables. So I believe this is some samples that we can get, or an SD card reader. We have cables. Oh, sweet. I was actually going to make a splitter because I want to try out some sending left and right channel audio to get some different effects going. We have the USB to USB-C cable, and it's nicely braided, which is very nice. Actually, I'll just see how this feels. Feels pretty solid too, and that's braided as well, so should be able to keep all these nice and neat. And I'll know that these are all the cables for the Polyend. Same here. And they're quarter jacks, so that'll be pretty handy as well to fit in my setup. All the power sockets, which I'll need that one. And then we have the power supply. Like that. It's pretty sweet. And that's everything in the box. Actually feels like a really nice size as well. So we'll just put it into shot. This is pretty amazing. I'm actually quite excited to see how it fires up and what I can do. Test something out to see if everything here fits inside of the case. Because it would be pretty sweet if I can set this in my bag and just forget about it, and when I feel inspired I can do something. It's pretty snug fit, so I know if it can take a bump. I don't know if anything else is going to fit in there. Overall, it's a pretty solid case. I think that ticks a lot of boxes for me at the moment, but I really want to actually have a shot at this and see how it plays. So let's get it fired up. Alright, I've got the tracker in front of me and I'm really impressed with this. Now, this was supposed to be the first impressions of using the machine, but I got a bit carried away and just started making something. And yeah, I actually found it quite easy to get into. Mind you, I'm definitely a tracker person. If you've seen any of my tracks, I really enjoy the workflow, so I don't really have to rethink how I'm working inside of this. But there's a few things I wanted to highlight as my first impression. Like the sample engine inside this is actually quite powerful. Being able to do wavetable and granular synth really opens up what I can do on this machine. But it does have a few other ways of manipulating the sounds as well. On top of that, we do have extra parameters like cutoff, we have panning, and that we can control the instrument itself before we go into the tracker and start applying effects, which is really cool. And being able to add things like a reverb send, we can start changing the bit rate of the samples themselves to give some more lo-fi or some grittiness to the sound effects. Like something I was actually quite impressed when I was starting to muck around here. And being able to record samples, like I've got some samples loaded up, but I took some from Arturia's V collection. And yeah, when I was looking at recording it, I was wondering what the process would be, and literally I just plugged it in, got the sound to come out of the computer, and just used the line in. I got some really nice samples that way. But we can also record from the radio. We can have a microphone plugged in, and I'm thinking if I can get some sort of gooseneck microphone, it'll be really cool to just run around with the actual tracker recording sounds as I'm out and about. But I'm thinking about getting a dedicated field recorder or something to start collecting samples as well. But the process of capturing a sound and then being able to manipulate it, I found that really cool. The other thing I found really cool is their keyboard design. Now, I have a 5-octave keyboard, which I find is really nice. For me, I never run off the ends. This does have a 4-octave keyboard, which is quite more than the other synthesizers I've got. But the key thing I wanted to point out is how it's laid out in this grid. Like each row is a 12 note chromatic scale, but when I start playing, like if I get it to make sound, we can hold this and then see the notes that we're playing. So if I can start experimenting with the chords that I'm going to use inside the tracker. But if I want to augment a chord, like say I wanted to say do the first inversion, I don't have to think about, oh, I need to jump that up to C. I can just move my finger up. And yeah, it gives me a lot more flexibility, or just being able to nut out an idea on that key bed. One thing I did notice, I usually play quite light, but sometimes I'll have it not trigger, but they are quite responsive. There's no velocity, but we can control that inside the tracker. This is more for getting the ideas down. The control dial, interesting choice, but how it's integrated through the whole system, it's actually quite intuitive, like being able to control steps, but we've also got an extra way of controlling how those steps interact with each other. So very thought out machine, and I do like that they're releasing firmware updates quite frequently for it. It's one of the things I look out for, is how much they support machines, or a company supports a machine as they release. So really happy about that. And yeah, overall, very solid thing. I'm glad I got the hard case for it, because I do intend to take this on the road. I might have to make another case for all the cables, just so it's all kept together. But overall, I'm quite excited to start making some tunes with this thing and posting them up. Yeah, if you got any questions about this machine, definitely leave them down in the comments below. I definitely want to start exploring this a lot more, especially the performance section, seeing how I can use that to manipulate the songs themselves. And yeah, overall, I hope this has been a good little experience for you. I'm quite excited, as yeah, this was a bit of a birthday present for myself, and paid for it all by myself. Yeah, I'm quite excited to see how this is going to impact all of this music production. So I hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you next time.